Story, get really inspired. Really fun.
Um, one of the biggest joys of my life today is being able to sponsor other men and see the lights coming in their eyes. Because when I first came in here and I heard about the promises and being able to look the world in the eye and the feeling that the drink problem has been solved. I when I heard that and when I read about that, as far as I took that thought was like that sounds nice. But it's just like whatever. And seeing people come in the rooms and seeing the lights come on for them is, yeah, the best feeling in the world, especially when I'm able to sit across the room from them. And the biggest thing that I learned from Robbie is that when he wants to show up, he's there. When he doesn't want to show up, he's there. And I need that reminder because some days I just don't want to fucking do it. And Robbie shows me that example quite a bit. And he gives me he calls me when things are good, he calls me when things are bad, and that's what I fail to do with my sponsor. It's just like he teaches me a lot more than I could ever teach him, because of that, because I still need that reminder. you know um and I'm just really excited to hear Robbie speak today. So I would like to introduce Robbie.
I'm Robbie, I'm an alcoholic. So thank you, Daniel, for introducing me, and thank you all for being here today. I love this meeting. I don't come as much as I'd like to, but it's a great time. Um, yeah, I guess just start somewhere and go somewhere else. So, yeah, grew up in a family. Um, it was, I don't know, life was always kind of a form of escapism, was something I always kind of had. My parents were always fighting growing up. So from a young age, I would like try to use magic potions to get them to stop fighting and all that stuff. And the second I found alcohol, I don't even know how old I was. Um, just kind of like as long as I had consciousness, I feel like I was trying to steal my parents' liquor in some form. Um, my mom worked a lot and she'd be out of the house. I'd be home alone. And I'm an only child, so had nothing really to entertain myself besides like searching for any alcohol or pills or anything that were in the house. And I'd just go find that bottle and drink and then hope that I'd be asleep by the time my mom came home. Usually wasn't. She caught me so many times. Um, but even then, I didn't think anything. I was like, oh, I'm just a kid. I'm just having fun. This is what I do, and I'm bored. May as well do something. And that kind of just went on and on for a long time until um until I started like drinking with my friends. And then the first time I drank with my friends, I had like a kind of inkling that something was a little bit different about me, but I didn't like think about it then. My friend was like, he grabbed his fireball out of his mom's liquor cabinet, and we all like took a little swig, and then he put it away. I was like, wait, why are you putting it away? I'm not done yet. Come on. And so that was a fun night. That's my first like taste of actually enjoying it with other people. And I had a great time, and I was kind of hooked from there. Um, and my story wouldn't be complete without weed as well. That was a big part of my addiction. Um, but I'll focus more on the alcohol for now. So kind of kept on going like that. I'd just wait until my mom was gone, take her alcohol, or go to a party and there's a one party and the mom was like sponsoring the alcohol of the party and she made like a spiced rum punch thing for it or spiced cider. And I went into the liquor cabinet and grabbed some more rum and poured it in there. And she was like, "What are you doing? There's already alcohol in there." I was like, "Oh well, I'll just have more fun." Um, and ended up just getting like completely shit faced and making a fool of myself that night. Never got invited back to any of those parties. Wonder why. Um, but it kept going from there. I just kept on like trying to escape my life and not accepting where I was and who I was and just running from everything, and using the bottle to do that. Eventually, um, when I started smoking weed, it got to a point where I was just either high or drunk every single day, all the time. I got fired from my first job pretty much for falling asleep in the closet. It was a maintenance and dishwashing job at a ski area, and the closet was nice. It had like this pile of cardboard boxes, and the cardboard boxes were just looking really inviting this day. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lay down here for a second. And that turned into like 20 minutes, and my boss saw me, and that was the end of that. So that should have been a sign there too, but it was just like, oh no, this is just how life is, I'm okay. And I was like 14, so I didn't think about it at the time. Um, but kept on going and going, and then eventually I got to the point where my friends in high school were just kind of like not hanging out with me anymore because I was just drinking and smoking all the time and not able to have a coherent conversation and just kind of being like all around a loser. Um, so kind of fell out with those guys, and my mom could see there was something up with me. She was like, "You're just miserable all the time," and so we tried to like apply to private schools and stuff and see if changing my location would help, which spoiler, it never does. Um, Same me, different place. So didn't get into any ones I applied for, but they sent my application to this school in Colorado, and they liked me, I guess, somehow, and they gave me a big scholarship, and I got to go there really cheap, which was amazing. It was a great opportunity, but I threw that away too. I made it like a couple weeks there before I started like getting back into drinking and smoking. And the second I did, I was off to the races. I had my like two best friends there were like the Coke dealer and the guy that bought alcohol for the kids. And so I just spent all my nights like up until 3 playing video games and drinking and doing Coke with them. And yeah, that didn't make for the best grades or class attendance. Um, so I had so many different strikes there. First one I was like just late for class all the time, low grades. They called me into the office. We had to discuss all that. And then the second time I was on a school trip and I snuck out to go drink, and I got caught because I came in just like unable to control my body and just like smacking furniture as I walked by to get back to my bedroom. And the host family was like, huh, there's something up with this kid. So they told the leader of the trip, and on trips it was supposed to be like a one strike thing. If you got caught with any substance, anything at all, it was you're gone. But luckily it was my birthday on the trip. So I had an excuse. Me and my friends hatched this plan. We're like, okay, we just say that I was getting tacos with my friends to celebrate my birthday and everything will be good. And I was friends with all the people. It was like a discipline council they had at the school of students. So they all like went to bat for me. It was like, oh yeah, he's fine. He doesn't do anything. Da, da, da. And somehow I didn't get expelled then. But I went on drug testing. And so I was still drinking a little bit, but less because I had to like be careful about getting caught with the tests. And you never knew when it was going to be, as most random drug tests are. So I got into shoplifting a lot. That was like my escape for a while. And eventually I got arrested for shoplifting at Walmart. Just like bandanas and video games and Nerf guns, all the things a kid needs. And so, yeah, I'd been doing it for a while and I thought it was fine. Um, I wasn't thinking. I was like, oh, fuck Walmart. They're a big corporation. They're greedy. They don't need money. Um, so I had my friend with me from Spain, and he got arrested with me, and I think that was the biggest wake up call because he almost got deported. We had to like get legal help to keep him in the country, and that was like a big oh fuck moment. Um, and just like feeling that my actions impacted someone else like that kind of made me start thinking a bit, but not too hard. I was still wanting to escape, still wanting to do anything I could to not be here. So that was the end of that year. And then the summer happened, and that was fine. I went back home and, drank and smoked and did my thing because no drug testing while I'm at home. Um, And my mom asked me before I went back to school that year, she was like, "Are you sure you're not going to get expelled? Do you know can you do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry. I'm good. I got this. It'll be great. I'll be on drug testing. I can't even get in trouble." That's a lie. Uh, Drug testing, it's really difficult to test for mushrooms. So that's what I did. I just did mushrooms and acid and just like completely binged on that stuff all the time. And um got it shipped in the mail to us, and it was something. We we decided to go over to this day student's house, did a whole bunch, and came back, and there was a librarian in the boys' dorm, and saw that they were on something. She was like, "What are you guys doing? You're on something for sure." And I'd forgotten that I was supposed to go to Friday night study because I'd been skipping classes, so I was supposed to go study and work on my classwork that I missed. So I completely forgot about that. I was like just too excited to go do some drugs, and came back, and at 2 a.m. the dean of students walks into my room, and she's like, "I know you guys did mushrooms last night, and you're gonna come to the office tomorrow, and we're going to drug test you for mushrooms, and your parents are gonna pay for the extra expensive bill for the extra drug tests, and if you lie, we'll know." So naturally, I did everything I could to be able to lie. I was used to the drug test at this point. I had all those shakes and all the different teas that are supposed to detox you. So my roommate and I just like went and made some tea, drank some shakes. I'm like, okay, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be okay. And spoiler alert, we weren't. We got called to the office and kind of just sitting there waiting, and I'm like denying it for a while, and then I like walk out to go to the bathroom, and I see my friend breaking down to cry because he confessed, and I was like, ah, fuck, gig's up. Just gotta confess too. And then I had a day to leave, get all the way back to New Hampshire. Um, Surprisingly, my parents didn't hate me for it. It's like they knew it was happening. They knew this was gonna happen. I don't even said it before I went, and I always had a very like open relationship with them on that. I mean, I smoked and drank with my dad from a young age, and my mom, I just like told everything to. So she knew that I was even doing mushrooms that night, and she's like, "Yep, I knew this was gonna happen. It's okay." Um, but even still, for a long time, I just felt that like guilt that I let them down, and there was like a financial obligation there too because they did this to send me to the school to help me be better, and it didn't happen. I just got worse. Um, and so that year, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just finish school as fast as I can online, and then I'm gonna move back to Colorado and be a ski bum, and everything's gonna be great. Life's gonna be perfect. Um, Started online school. It sucked. It was isolating. I was just alone on my computer all day long. And then COVID hit. So then it was even more of that. And everyone else was online too. They were just like, I couldn't leave New Hampshire. I was stuck there pretty much. I couldn't do my plans. I was like, all right, I'll just take it slow. And that's when it got like to be probably the worst. I was just constantly fucked up. Like I lived with my dad at the time. Um, Actually, this is another bad part of it, or hard lesson I learned. Um, I tried to quit. I was with my mom, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit smoking. So I drank a 6 pack of beer, and I was like, there's no weed today, just beer. And I just like we got in this huge screaming match, and I was just fucked up, and she was sad that I was fucked up. So eventually, it ended up with me like going to my dad's house. He was out of town, but there was a drum set there, and I was like, that'll relieve me. I'll be able to just like hit the drums, and everything will be better because I'll be playing drums. And I got there, and just had a complete, total mental breakdown. I just like saw the pictures of me as a kid and just went up and like punched them and broke all the glass. And my mom was like, "I'm gonna call the cops," because she didn't know what to do. And so she started dialing, and I was said, like, I like threw a box because I was just pissed off. Like, "Don't call the cops. What are you doing?" And right when they picked up, they heard the box like hit her, and she was like, "That hit me." And so I got arrested for simple assault. And after that, I was court ordered to live with my dad for a long time. And my mom never held it against me. She knew I was in a bad place, and she knew I wasn't like trying to hurt her with that. But just the way the cops heard it. And so we like went to court and all that stuff and got the charges dropped. I also got a marijuana possession charge then, but that was just a fine, so that wasn't anything as bad. And I didn't think of it. I was like, okay, this is bad, but this is just an excuse to get worse. So I lived with my dad. It was COVID. There was nothing to do. I just smoked and drank all the time. Never really talked to him. We just would like have a vodka cranberry every night together and not talk. Watch Ancient Aliens, then go do my schoolwork. And that was like a few months of my life that just were no interaction socially with anyone, even though I was living with another person. Um, so that was like a big, hmm, this sucks. I need to probably change, but I wasn't ready to. And when the court order was lifted and I could go live with my mom again, I decided not to because I just didn't want to. I was afraid of myself. I didn't want to hurt her again. I didn't want to like put her through that stuff anymore. So I stayed with my dad for a long time, and um, eventually I just woke up one morning and like the mug that I had next to my bed for water broke, and for me that was the sign. It was like, okay, I got to change now. I can't do this anymore. The mug broke. That means something. So I called my mom and I told her that I was ready to like get sober and try and do something different. And so I went and lived with her. I'd been like meditating and doing a little bit more yoga, so I had like some other form to cope with life, a way to just like get inside my head. And then I found transcendental meditation, and I just was constantly escaping my body with that. So I just like for hours every day, just like meditate about being somewhere else and just like have a completely different life in my head. And that helped me stay sober for like 5 months. And I felt incredible because I was like, oh yeah, I am God. I can meditate and do this. I am amazing. I'm gonna be the next Jesus. And it was just the same delusion all over again, but through a different lens. I was it felt great, not gonna lie. But that was a short-lived little experience. I It was still kind of COVID time. I was getting ready to go to college, but I just didn't want to be stuck in a dorm room on my laptop doing nothing. I figured that'd be not the healthiest for me. Um, so I found this gap year program that had like college credits, and it was sailing around from like the Indian Ocean, like from the Maldives to the Seychelles up to Antigua. And I went on that, and it was an incredible experience, but I relapsed there um, because we'd stop, and the drinking age was 18 everywhere else besides America. So they let us drink. And every night that we could drink, I just drank to the point of throwing up off the docks and making shitty decisions and kind of just like every time we'd stop, I'd get a little less of that like blissful meditative experience that I'd had for a long time. And I'd just be getting further and further stuck in my head in the bad places. And yeah, eventually we stopped in one place for like a month in Cape Town, and I just like fully went back into it, just like smoking all the time, drinking all the time. And the last like 2 months of that trip were just like hell inside my head. And I came back and was like in the post trip depression from being like, okay, wait, real life exists again. I've got to like be a human being that has a job and does real things. And it was honestly not terrible for a little while. I got through that period and just was kind of almost able to moderate. Not really, but I thought I could. I thought I was moderating. I thought I was doing a good job at just like smoking after work and drinking after work and everything was okay. Um, but I didn't last long either. Eventually just got bad again. Um, and one day I was just like high and drunk at work, and I cut the tip of my pinky off with my knife. I was cooking. Um, and didn't think anything of it then either. I still, in all this time, I hadn't admitted that I really had a problem. I thought that I just had to stop for a little while or just stop and everything would be better. Um, so that was that summer. I ended up working um, for the gap year company's like high school age summer camp thing in the British Virgin Islands as a sailboat captain. And it got terrible again there. We had like 3 weeks before the students came. It was just like work, get everything set, and then drink every night. And I'd always get too drunk. Didn't think anything of it though. I was like, I'm just an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. This is what I do. This is okay. Um, and ended up just making some like shitty decisions. I got blackout drunk one night. There was this girl I really liked. I had like a crush on her so hard. We like talked a little bit. We'd hang out every once in a while. Um, then I ended up sleeping with her best friend because I was too drunk, and that didn't help anything. That just made me like spiral in my head, like just thinking about why I was making such bad decisions, why I was like not able to do what I wanted to do. My body was doing other things than what my mind wanted to do. And um, yeah, that kind of ruined my headspace for that whole thing. It's still a beautiful place and a beautiful job, and I'm very grateful for the experiences. But yeah, that brought it all back and kind of gave me this just deep sense of dread and like no control over myself or my body or anything, my addiction. Still not calling it alcoholism at this point. When I was back on that trip, there was one time, this girl was like, "Hey, I think you're an alcoholic." I was 18. And I was like, "No, alcoholics drink every night. I only binge drink every once in a while." And, you know, I didn't want to admit it. I just wanted to say that that wasn't me. I'm normal. I can drink. I can get just obliterated, and then it's okay. It wasn't. It was just ruining a lot of things for me. Um, so then I went to college. I did all the college things, drinking and more drugs and all that good stuff. Um, I had a dorm or a yeah dorm mate that he was an alcoholic. I wasn't an alcoholic. He was. He would just, I'd just like go to his room and just mooch off him, and um, we like became good friends through all that. But it was just like I would just judge him for how he was living, and I wouldn't look at my own stuff. I would just say that, oh, that's him. I'm different. I can control it. I just go over here because I want to mooch off him all the time. I don't know. I do. To me, it wasn't an issue then. Um, but it just kept getting worse. My world got smaller and smaller. I went back to that summer job and just like I have Lyme disease as well, so there may have been some of that going on. Um, and I just like got to this point where I couldn't really function um, at all. I'd drink and it would just make me pass out right away. I couldn't like function without it either. And I'd say like there would be nights where we'd like have a night off from the students and we'd go and I'll meet up. I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to drink tonight. And then I'd end up drinking. Um, and so I ended up just like leaving that job early that year and went on this like journey to really work on like my physical health in a way. Um, the year before I went on that job, I was just like feeling like I was at the top of the world. I was constantly doing mushrooms, so I was always feeling like I was really like I just felt amazing because of like all that serotonin flooding my brain all the time. And I was like, okay, I've changed so much. I'm a new person. I was in good shape because I was like skateboarding and drinking and throwing up all the time. So there was no food nurturing my body. It was just like I felt like I was on top of the world because I was like, I don't know, ripped and just full of serotonin. And I get there and yeah, that all crashes. And I like lost all of the fake enlightenment that I had from that. I came back to Earth and it was pretty miserable for a while. I was having tons of panic attacks and just insanely depressed and couldn't like get myself to do anything. And when I like had to do something, I hardly ever I would do it most of the time, but there were times where I just like couldn't. I would just completely give up and just like lay in bed all day long. Um, and I came back from that and decided that year I was going to drive to school and bring my car out here. So drove across the country and was just having panic attacks the whole time and just like wanting to kill myself and just with my dad and like I was telling him that and he was just like, "Oh, okay, don't." like he didn't understand really, um, which is fair, and it's got to be really tough to hear your kids say that kind of stuff. But got back here, and I was just having the panic attacks constantly, and I went to like the first couple days of classes, and just I was having too many panic attacks to like function. So I decided I was gonna just um I knew I had Lyme disease, so I decided I'd go get the Lyme disease treatment back in New Hampshire and just do school online for that semester. So drove all the way back across the country and did school online, worked at Chipotle, and got treatment every day. And part of the treatment was I had to be sober in order for it to work. So I was begrudgingly sober that whole time. Um, I would talk to my friends who were still drinking, and they're like, "Okay, well, when you're ready, man, I got the cart right here. Was, I got all the Johnny Walker, everything you'd ever want." And I was like, "No, man, I got to do this for now, but soon I'll be back. I promise." And um, yeah, I finished up like that treatment and came back the next semester, and I was like, "Okay, this is different. I've learned so much about myself. I'm healthier. I'm stronger. I'm in a better place." And it started up slowly this time. Like I started out like being able to kind of moderate a little bit. And then it just spiraled immediately. I would like go out a couple times a week and drink a little bit and hate it. Wanted to drink more every time. But I was like, I can only drink 2 beers because I can't have that much gluten or else the Lyme disease is gonna flare up and la la la. And um I was still like staying away from weed for the most part, but every time I drank, I'd take a couple hits. And then eventually I just got to my 21st birthday and started drinking from there and bought a big bottle of whiskey and was gonna have some friends over, but my world was pretty small. I'd been gone for a semester and I'd already kind of pushed away most of my friends here. So it was like one friend that came over and he didn't drink. So I just kind of drank the bottle of whiskey to myself. And then it just got out of control from there again. I had roommates who smoked and drank, and for a little bit, I was able to like watch them from afar and be like, "Oh, please," but I can't. And then it just started up again. I fell right back into the same cycles, but this time I didn't have like friends supporting me in that cycle. It was just me alone, smoking and drinking, and I don't know. For some times, it felt like it was helping me with my creativity, but I look back now and I realize it really wasn't. I would like think I was being super productive, but I really wouldn't get much done. I'd do like 5 minutes of work on mixing a song or writing a song or something, and I thought that I was doing great. But all the work that I produced in that time was kind of trash. Um, so I kept going like that for a little while, and this I ended up working for that same company again, but this time in Iceland, and I had to get sober again for that because they drug test, or they say they're going to drug test. They don't actually, but they always have the threat there. Um, so I like sobered up right before going, and it was just like I was in this like I don't know, it was like saran wrap over my eyes. I was just like deep in the back of my being and wasn't actually watching life. Like I was in this beautiful country and getting to get paid to take kids around the country and show them all this beautiful stuff, but I wasn't able to appreciate it. And it was just like stuck inside myself and no way to get out. And it was just like, I don't know, felt like I was screaming inside, but just having a calm face on the outside. So yeah, I kept on going from there. I just got back from that immediately, drank on the plane, um, went to Spain to visit a friend, and just was able to like not for a little bit there. He was drinking and smoking, and I was just like, I'll just have cigarettes. That's all I need right now. And then I got back to school again, and just same cycle again. It's like every summer I would sober up for this job, and every fall I'd come back here, and I just would go right back into my old cycles. Um, and it got to be pretty bad, um, throughout that year. Just like really spiraled a lot. Um, and it wasn't necessarily that I was doing anything more. It was just that I'd exhausted all the people around me, and no one wanted to like be there for me. No one wanted to be my friend, really. I had like one guy who I'd see once in a while. We'd hang out, and that was about it. It was just lonely, and my only friend was alcohol and weed. And they'd convinced me that they were my only friend and they were there for me. But they also made me throw up every single morning and not be able to eat. And I was just absolutely miserable. Um, I just kept going and going and going until I was working this job at Karis Nursery, and I was, I don't know, I was supposed to do an internship for school, but I was just afraid to do anything. I just wanted to stay in my pattern and just get fucked up all the time. So I decided not to do a real internship and just convinced my advisor that working at Karis was an internship and that I would like give a seminar and that would count. And then like the day of the seminar like kept coming closer and closer, and I hadn't decided what I was going to talk about. I hadn't decided what I was going to teach about. I hadn't learned anything. I was too fucked up every day at work to ever learn anything at all. I just watered plants and listened to podcasts, and it was great because I was able to just be fucked up there. Um, but I just was so full of anxiety and dread, and just didn't really want to be alive. Didn't want to do anything. But I was still going through the motions, and the day kept coming closer and closer. Um, and I went home for a little while for like a summer break to just like I had a long distance relationship at the time, so like saw her for a while, and like I don't know, she's a normie. She was able to like have a cart in her bedroom and not hit it all the time. She had alcohol in her fridge, but she didn't drink it all. I didn't understand it at all. I was like, what? How do you what? Okay, cool. Um, so we'd be like, she'd be smoking cigarettes, and I'd be smoking weed and drinking, and she'd have like a water bottle, and I'd have a seltzer, and just didn't work out because of I wasn't there really, and I had plans. We had plans for her to come visit me, um, after like we bought the plane tickets and everything, and then the day of the seminar came closer when I was back here, and I was just like, okay, I got to fix this anxiety and this depression so I can do this. I got to just like figure it out. I'm going to do mushrooms. That'll help. So I set the intention. I'm like, okay, mushrooms show me what's wrong with my life. Help me to become the best version of myself. And then I just laid down in my bed for 8 hours, and like constantly flowing through my head was all the times that I'd been doing drugs alone, been fucked up alone, all the times that I'd just passed opportunities because I wanted to get fucked up and stay comfortable and safe. And it was tough to see, but it was also eye opening. Um, I realized that was the issue, that doing drugs alone in my room, which I thought would be the solution, was actually the problem. Well, I was the problem. It was a solution, but it wasn't a good one. Um, so I decided the day after that trip, I'm like, all right, it's time to get sober. And I quit everything for a day and immediately was on the phone with my mom for like 6 hours a day, like complaining and bitching and moaning and just being like, oh, I suck, everything sucks. So my aunt luckily works at a rehab down in Texas, and I was able to get in touch with her and talk to like the admissions there, and because of my aunt, I was able to get in there like faster than I could have gotten to a rehab anywhere else. And it was a great facility. It was like dual diagnosis, and they did like art and I don't know everything. It was Tai Chi. It was great. I realized I couldn't do it alone then, because every time I tried to do it alone, I'd just been like I don't know leaning entirely on my mom, and that can't last forever. I got to grow up. So checked into there. Um, And before I went, of course, I went back to it. I drank as much as I could and smoked as much as I could. Had to have one last hurrah. And got down there on July 23rd. And that was kind of just, it was amazing. It was also like hell internally, because I was actually facing everything and having therapy 4 times a week and all these groups of internal family systems and all this different stuff to actually look at what was going on. And the third day there, I like tried to run away. I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna test the boundaries and see how far I can go. And then I realized there was nowhere for me to go if I left. It was in the middle of the woods in Texas. What am I gonna do? So went right back and finished up the treatment program. Um, and it was probably one of the best decisions I made in my life. I don't know. It was great because the day that I got out of treatment, it was my aunt's 37 year of sobriety. So I got to like go see her get that coin at one of her meetings. And that was just like really powerful because I got to talk to people who had been sober for a while and like really get to be, I don't know, experience what it was like. And during that treatment, there was all that good stuff, all those different family systems and all this. But the thing that was the most like meaningful and impactful and helpful for me was our AA meetings. And it wasn't like a 12-step based treatment center, but we had a few guys that had been in AA and come back and gone out and all that, and we're back in the treatment center. And this one guy Jackson just like always brought a meeting every single night, so we could have a meeting. And that just like changed everything. I was able to like talk about stuff and feel heard and feel seen. And they did kind of like the young people format where they just like have callbacks and things during the how it works, and just like felt like a real building of community. Um, so when I got out and saw like a real AA meeting, it was just, I don't know, I just felt like at home. Um, and kind of went straight from there back here. And that was tough. I didn't know in person, like IOP. I didn't do any of that stuff. I was like, I'm good. I'm strong. I'm the best. I got this. I'm just going to go straight back to school and just, hit the ground running. That'll be perfect. Um, it wasn't. It was hard to adjust back to life. It was like, oh, I have to actually like cook food for myself and like make sure I do things. I don't have someone telling me what to do, where to go. Um, so that adjustment period sucked for a while. But I came into the rooms right away and talked to, I don't know, just like started going, and I didn't share right away, but once I did, I just felt like I could like let stuff off my chest and just exist and be okay. Um, and met Daniel soon after that. We started working together, and that really saved me just to have someone to talk to that knew what I was going through and had words of wisdom and just like the simplest stuff like, is it happening now? No. Okay. Just where are your feet? That kind of stuff, just like existing and knowing how to like stand and be and live. Um, it was still a really tough period for that first couple of months. I like I was depressed. I tried to kill myself, but I didn't. And I went to St. Pat's for a night and realized that I can do this and it's okay and I'll get through this. And just like through continuing to talk to other people in program and my sponsor, and just like knowing that it does get better. Um, I didn't believe it for a long time. I was like, this is my life. It's going to be hell forever. But it's not. It's like after that first 3 or 4 months, they started like open up again. And I could like function and I could do what I said I was going to do. And I could show up and I could have socialization and friends and play volleyball and do all these fun events that we do as AAs. And I met some of the coolest people that I ever met in my life and just got to really feel a sense of community here. And it's just been an incredible journey. And through working the steps and looking at all the stuff through a deeper lens and seeing where I was at fault and where I can make amends and change the way that I interact with the world now, I just have found like so much freedom. And I don't know, I've gotten to go to Denver for Wacky Paw back in January and Vancouver for the International Convention of AA, and just like travel and see different parts of this continent just for AA, which is incredible. I never would have gotten to do that stuff if I hadn't been for this program. And I wouldn't have wanted to almost. I would have just wanted to stay at home and be small. And life has just gotten big. It's gotten huge. At first I was like, oh, life's gonna be so tiny. I'm gonna be just going to meetings and working, and that's all my life's ever gonna be. It's just that. And I thought I was like stuck to going to 6 meetings a day if I had to, and just like really like having no other life. But slowly it's become a life again. It's like something I can live and enjoy, and I can, I don't know, have a relationship that is meaningful and isn't transactional or based on what I can get from her. And it's like just opened up so many possibilities, and people like trust me sometimes. That's amazing. I can just, I don't know, I've got a job that I've worked for like 3 or 4 months now, which, I mean, before that, I would never hold a job for that long unless I was gone for some time, like a couple months, and then I came back. That doesn't count though. So it's just really incredible. Like I want to show up even when I don't want to show up. There's like this the part of me, my higher power is just there. I like connection and I do the steps and I like most nights, not every night, I'll do a 10th step. I'll like just write out do a little checklist of like where I was honest or dishonest, or if I was, I don't know, blanking on all the things I do because I didn't do it last night. But I'll just do that and I journal and I like think about stuff and I meditate and I pray. I never used to pray. And all my old spiritual mumbo jumbo and new age bullshit that I used to do, I never prayed. It was all just about me. It was just about where can I go in my head and what can I see and what can I experience and what can I have. But now it's like, what can I give and what can I do for others and like where can I be of service and how do I balance that with what I need, not what I want. And it's I don't know, some balance that I'm still finding in a way. The balance between like service and not burning myself out. But I'm able to actually find that balance now instead of just pretending to. And I know that every day it keeps growing. I don't know. Life, my macroeconomics teacher in school said that like life is like the stock market. It's like it goes up and down. You know, we have our downs, we have our ups, but it's always kind of on an upward trajectory. And it felt like before I came into the program, it was like a recession. I was just low and kept going lower and lower. Um, but since like coming into the rooms and doing treatment, it's like it started to actually pick back up. And I think we're out of the recession. You know, it's pretty cool. But I don't know. Just grateful to be here and to have this opportunity to speak and tell my story. And for all the people that I met, it's I love you all. It's amazing. Thank you.